Social Security is on the brink of making history, and today we're diving deep into what that means for you. From rising average monthly benefits to a major policy shift proposed by President Trump, there's a lot going on that could impact your wallet and your peace of mind. For the first time ever, the average monthly Social Security check is expected to pass $2,000. That may sound like just a number, but it's actually a major milestone with serious implications for future benefits and economic planning in Washington. But that's not all. We're also going to break down Trump's $4,000 deduction plan, why it's being offered instead of the tax elimination he originally promised, and how it could still help millions of Americans over 65. There are a lot of moving pieces, and I want to make sure you walk away from this video with clear answers. So, before we get started, please take just a moment to hit that like button and subscribe if you find these updates helpful. Now, let's jump right in. 2025 has been nothing short of chaotic when it comes to financial policy, government spending, and especially Social Security. As we approach the halfway mark of the year, we've already seen a flood of proposals, debates, and last-minute amendments from both sides of Congress. From tax reform efforts to changes in retirement benefits, this year has kept seniors on edge. If you've been watching closely, you know how fast the narrative can shift. What was promised last week can vanish overnight in a new version of a bill. What's particularly unusual this year is that Social Security is no longer just part of a budget discussion. It has become a centerpiece of political debate. Seniors are a key voting bloc, and politicians are fighting to gain their trust and support. While this means we're seeing more attention on senior issues than ever before, it also means we have to look at every new proposal with a critical eye. That brings us to one of the biggest talking points of the year: President Trump's promise to eliminate taxes on Social Security. Let's talk about what was promised and what actually happened. During his campaign and again in early 2025, President Donald Trump made a bold and very popular pledge to eliminate federal income taxes on Social Security benefits for seniors. He even stated plainly, seniors should not pay taxes on Social Security, and they won't. This line resonated with millions, particularly those living on fixed incomes who feel the burden of being taxed twice, once when they earn the money and again when they receive benefits. But when his new domestic policy bill passed the House earlier this month, the promise was noticeably missing. The legislation spans over 1,000 pages and contains a long list of tax changes, but there is no elimination of Social Security taxation. Why? According to legislative analysts, it all comes down to something called the Byrd Rule, which limits what can be included in a budget reconciliation bill. Because Social Security is a dedicated trust fund and not general spending, any major changes, like removing its tax, would violate this rule. That's why the promise didn't materialize into policy. So instead of a tax elimination, lawmakers pivoted to what they're calling an enhanced deduction. This new provision offers an extra $4,000 standard deduction for anyone 65 or older, and it's available whether you itemize or take the standard deduction. It's being framed as a way to lower overall tax burdens without violating procedural rules in the Senate. And it's not a small move. It could lower taxes for an estimated 56 million older Americans. While this $4,000 deduction doesn't have the emotional appeal of no taxes at all, it is likely to provide real relief to many. In fact, one of the key arguments in favor of this shift is that a large number of Social Security recipients, especially low-income seniors, don't file tax returns at all. That means, even if Social Security taxes were eliminated, many wouldn't benefit. This deduction, on the other hand, helps anyone who files, even with limited income. It may not be the full promise people expected, but it's a practical compromise that can reach a broader base. Another trend we're seeing is more people filing for Social Security earlier than they might have planned. And the reason is rooted in fear. With constant headlines about funding shortfalls, benefit cuts, and uncertainty in Washington, many seniors are deciding not to wait until full retirement age. Instead, they're choosing to take their benefits now, worried that Social Security might not be around or might offer less in 5 or 10 years. This rush to claim early is understandable, but it has long-term consequences. Claiming benefits before your full retirement age locks in a lower monthly payment for life. Still, people are willing to take the hit now in exchange for peace of mind. But ironically, this wave of early filings is actually affecting how Social Security is measured. And it's contributing to a historical shift in benefit averages, which brings us to the big news of today. Social Security is about to hit a historic milestone. The average monthly check for retired workers is projected to surpass $2,000 for the first time ever. In April, the average benefit was just a few cents short, $1,999.97. And the upcoming June snapshot from the Social Security Administration is expected to show we've crossed that $2,000 threshold. While this number varies based on when someone retires and how much they earned during their career, it's still a psychological turning point. Why does this matter? Because for years, the average check hovered in the $1,500 to $1,800 range. This steady increase reflects several forces: cost of living adjustments, more people working longer, and more retirees entering the system with higher lifetime earnings. But more importantly, lawmakers are watching this trend. Once $2,000 becomes the new benchmark, it could influence future budget decisions, aid packages, and public expectations. In a system where every dollar counts, this new high sets the stage for the next political and financial battles. Now that we've reached the $2,000 mark, all eyes are on what happens next. There's growing speculation in Washington that lawmakers may start looking at how to assist those who still fall below the average benefit line. After all, $2,000 is just an average. Millions of seniors still receive far less due to early retirement, low lifetime earnings, or part-time work histories. If this number becomes the standard Congress recognizes, it may drive new efforts to close the gap for lower-income beneficiaries. We could also see new proposals tied to COLA, cost of living adjustments, increases, supplemental aid or tax credits targeting seniors whose benefits are below this new benchmark. The fact that Social Security pulled 22 million people out of poverty in 2023 proves just how vital the program is. And if it can be made more equitable, it will likely remain a central issue in the 2026 election and beyond. For now, seniors and advocates will be watching carefully to see whether this $2,000 milestone is a turning point or just another number on a page. In summary, the rise in average benefits to $2,000 is a powerful symbol, not just of progress, but of what still needs to be done. Millions of seniors depend on this income, and while crossing this threshold is historic, it doesn't mean the fight is over. At the same time, Trump's pivot to a $4,000 deduction rather than a tax elimination reflects the complexity of lawmaking and the limits imposed by budget rules. Still, it's a meaningful change that could help millions reduce their tax burden. As always, I'll be following these developments closely. If Congress starts to move on new aid proposals or benefit enhancements, you'll hear about it here first. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps get this information in front of more people who need it. And as always, thank you for being part of this community. I'll see you in the next video with more updates on your Social Security and retirement rights.